to Standing in the Sunlight with Cynthia Rose. We are all on an ever-unfolding unique journey. Join Cynthia Rose as she begins her unique perspective to all that is meaningful. Topics and personalities that support your path, bringing inspiration and passion and heart-centered ways to live a more fulfilling life. A down-to-earth and uplifting sharing of what it means to be spiritual, creative, and living life to the fullest by standing in the sunlight. Born an intuitive medium, Cynthia Rose is also an ordained minister, singer, astrologer, educator, and writer. She has studied the intuitive and healing arts for over 40 years. Rise up and stand in your sunlight now with Cynthia Rose.
Well, good afternoon. Here I am, Cynthia Rose, coming to you from Mountain Time. It's afternoon for me. And so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We're so glad that you're here joining us today. And if you're listening on one of the many ways you can listen in playback, then welcome as well. Just a couple of things before we get started today. I just wanted to remind you that you can listen to easily find all of the shows on playback through my YouTube channel. I created a playlist. You can find me there at Cynthia Rose Medium. And I have a playlist for all the shows. If you're listening to this show and you want to hear it again, it'll be there tomorrow. You can listen on OMTimes again. There's so many ways. You can find me on Facebook at Cynthia Rose Medium. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm out there. So, and of course, CynthiaRoseMedium.com if I can help you in any way. And today we are having Dr. Lisa Young on the show. She's going to be talking about her book, Finally Full, Finally Slim. She's a registered dietitian, nutritionist in private practice, and has been counseling adults and children for more than 25 years. She offers individual counseling sessions on a wide variety of nutrition-related issues, including obesity, weight control, disease prevention, hyperlipidemia, hypertension, diabetes, osteoporosis, pregnancy, lactation, and gastrointestinal disorders. Dr. Young has been involved in clinical obesity research studies at the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine and at St. Lukes-Roosevelt Hospital Center, and has consulted for various weight management programs in New York City. Welcome, Dr. Young.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me, Cynthia.
Yeah, glad to have you. So you are talking about Finally Full, Finally Slim today. And I'm just going to say for the readers, it says 30 days to permanent weight loss, one portion at a time. So this is not new for you. You've been doing this a while. So what motivated you to write this book?
This is my second book, and my first book, called The Portion Teller Plan, like the fortune teller, but I'm a portion teller. That book traced the history of the sizes of our food portions getting larger in America, and there was a perfect parallel between portions getting big and people getting big. You know, it doesn't take rocket science to understand why people have gained weight. So that book I did in 2006, and fast forward, I had a lot of readers and people asking me, they wanted a behavioral guide. How do you manage these oversized portions? And this book is a step-by-step, day-by-day, 30-day guide, which really helps you to learn how to navigate the world of nutrition, portion control, fad diets, but also getting a handle on your entire life. So I deal with creating healthy habits, a healthy mindset, and also a healthy life. So I address issues like sleep, exercise, self-compassion, decluttering. So I go beyond just the food and nutrition because I think it all goes together.
I would agree with that. That's as somebody who's, shall I say, has a sensitive system. I wouldn't say I look at food and I gain, but it's never been something that's easy to just say, I won't gain a pound. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of laughing at it because, just personally for me, out of the gate, thinking about this is, I want to ask you, do you ever have people that are not eating a lot of portions, not eating a lot, but maybe there's other reasons coming in as to why they don't lose? Do you ever get clients like that come and...
Well, you do get clients like that, but I'm going to tell you that for the most part, people think they eat less than they eat. And if you ask them to keep a record or you probe, it's amazing that people think they don't eat anything. And then when I probe them or they keep a food record, all the cheats, the nibbles, the tastes, I wouldn't even call them cheats, but just all of the things they're eating really add up. Or cereal, for example. Most people think, well, I'm having a 1-cup serving of cereal because that's what the label is using. And if they pour their cereal into a bowl and then measure it, they're probably eating closer to 3 cups. And with bowls and plates getting bigger, we've lost sight of what constitutes a normal size.
Wow. You're making me think of a parallel between that and we now have 2 dogs, but we had our little dog who was gaining weight, and we kept feeding him what we're supposed to feed him, and finally I said to the vet, we only feed him what the bag says. And he said, the bag's designed to sell more food, he said.
Exactly.
So we had to sort of give him less, and we gave him 3/4 of a scoop, and he still didn't lose. We had to go to half a scoop, and then he did lose, but I just didn't expect that.
Wow. Right. Yeah, no, and actually, pets have been gaining weight.
Yeah. Well, I can see why. I mean, we thought we were being such good pet parents.
You probably are being good pet parents, but, food is often love. And so that brings up an important point, because I have a dog also. And my dog always wants food, and we want to give him food, because food is love. But truthfully, really what they need is attention, not more food.
Yeah. Well, now they get things like, we got a second dog, and she's a veggie dog, so he's helped her in terms of, stress and feeling a forever home, and she's helped him. She loves like a slice of cabbage.
Oh, okay.
So little pieces of cabbage, or he still doesn't like celery. She likes celery, but they'll like a carrot. And we give them things like that now. But before,
my dog likes anything you give it. I mean, last night I dropped a piece of lettuce by accident on the floor, and he just grabs it. Like blueberries, I could understand he likes, but lettuce with no dressing, and he was just gobbling up that piece of lettuce.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody comes to you, and do you have them then start? And you mentioned writing everything. Is that one of the first things you have them do in the book, or?
That's one of the things that I love to have people do, and I ask them to do it. And I have a chapter a day called "Write It Before You Bite It," and what that actually does. And you could be as strict or as unstrict as you want. But in the chapter, I talk about the importance of keeping a food diary just for a little bit and recording how much you eat, what you eat. But also, if you do it before you're going out and you put in your diary what you plan to eat, very often it can help derail problems that might come down the road.
I can see that. I have to have, my healthy choices in the house so that I don't default to something else. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So when you plan in advance, that's just half the battle. And it really does help. And it's not something you have to do forever. I mean, look, I have some people who can only keep records of, maybe their nibbles. They're eating the French fries off their kid's plate, or they're, just having a handful of nuts, a handful of chips, but they don't think they eat anything.
Yeah, and it's so hard because it's so built into our society that we socialize around food.
And you can socialize around food. I mean, we do socialize around food, and we need to focus on other things besides food. I agree. But I eat out all the time, and I socialize a lot as well. And you can socialize around food if you just plan in advance, be mindful of your portions, don't get to an event totally famished. So there are tricks to really help you navigate being able to eat out and be healthy. I don't want people to say, well, I can't go to this restaurant because I'm on a diet. Nor do I want to see people bringing their own measuring cups or their own protein powder.
Right. And what about, do you ever have someone, I'm kind of thinking of all the things people might be, listeners might be thinking, but do you ever have someone say they can't do portion control, they're too hungry, or it doesn't work, or do they?
Oh, that's why my book is called Finally Full, Finally Slim. You will not be hungry on my program. First of all, Cynthia, fruits and vegetables are free. So I don't need people counting carrot sticks and bananas and blueberries and watermelon. I don't want to hear about there's sugar in fruit, I'm going to gain weight. That is the biggest myth in town. So when you can have lots and lots of fruits and vegetables, and then you want to have balance your portions of meat, also healthy starch. So you could eat, rice and potato. I prefer you having brown rice or wild rice or sweet potato, but you don't have to ban that. And you will not be hungry because you will be getting enough fiber as well. So my program is really for the volume eaters and people who like to eat and not be on a diet.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because there's so much everywhere now about not eating starch and paleo everything. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or what's going on with that, but why do you
I'm not a paleo person. I'm not a keto person. And I think that you will lose weight better and keep it off if you include some healthy starches like oatmeal or quinoa or soba noodles. But you need to watch how much it is you're having. It will fill you up. How much salad and meat can you eat after a while? I would be bored to tears.
Yeah. Well, I love sitting down with, we buy this sort of kale cabbage, actually add our own cabbage into a kale salad mix, and we just love it. But can people have dressing with it too, or is that enough?
Yes, they can have dressing. That is something, though, that you want to put on the side because you want to put it on yourself. When you go to a restaurant, they're going to give you probably easily 4 tablespoons worth. So I tell people, yes, you can have it, but the best way to actually have it is if you get it on the side and then you can actually pour it on. I'm not a fan of diet salad dressing because that just has more sugar, and nothing is wrong with having olive oil. But you can't pour a whole bottle on top of a salad and think you're being virtuous and then say, why aren't I losing weight?
Right. Yeah, what's the deal with that? Because the keto, I think what I know about it is there's this whole thing about coconut oil and fat and that we don't get enough fat. And I tell you, for somebody who's trying to figure it out, it sure can be confusing.
Yeah, we get more than enough fat. The keto diet is similar to an Atkins diet. Coconut oil, and I have a whole section in the book Finally Full, Finally Slim, how coconut oil is not health food. If you want to have it once in a while, you can, but it is a saturated fat. Olive oil is probably a healthier fat. And very often people think that the calories just disappear. people will lose weight on some of these low-carb diets because after a while they're cutting out bread, soda, ice cream, cookies. They run out of things to eat. But I'm not convinced that they're going to keep it off.
Right. Yeah, that's why I brought that up, because the whole this whole thing about coconut oil, and you see things with coconut oil and dates, and what about things like dates? I mean, they seem like sugar to me.
Dates are sugar. They're dried fruit. And my feeling about dried fruit is that, yes, you can have it, but you want to be very, very, very mindful. Some people probably do better not having it at all, but you really need to portion control it. Now, I had a friend who just was eating date after date after date, like 10 dates a day. You can't eat more than 2 or 3. That's equivalent to a fruit serving. Think about raisins and grapes. 1 cup of raisins or 1/4 of a cup of grapes. I'd rather have a cup of grapes. So if you're going to do dried fruit, you really have to portion control because it is going to be more concentrated sugar.
Right, and sugar is definitely, I mean, I've seen some of the sugar is like, it's everywhere, it's hidden everywhere. My husband and I try and avoid sugar best we can, but I mean, it's, I think our shopping could take us twice as long the way you have to check everything. Is there anything about the new food labels or anything that you know, how do I be political?
I love the new food labels, and I'm glad you brought up the new food labels. I have an entire chapter called Decode food labels, and the new food labels, first of all, they got rid of the section on calories from fat because it didn't mean anything. It doesn't really matter. It's not useful information to know if a food is high in fat or not. It really is useful to know if it's high in fat in the context of your whole diet. So they got rid of that section, and in its place, they made the calorie count font larger. So you will see the calories in a big font. You don't need to take out reading glasses to see it. And the number of servings per container and the serving size is also going to be more prominently displayed. And I think that's where there's a problem. People think whatever they eat is a serving. They forget to look at the size, and then they eat the whole bag.
Right. Okay, we're going to be right back after a quick little break. Stretch your legs, grab a glass of water or a grape, and we'll be back with Lisa Young talking about Finally Full, Finally Slim.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hi, this is recording artist and composer Yuval Ran, inviting you to a voyage through the chakras. a new double album of guided meditations to transform your life, a sublime musical medicine for nourishing inner peace and reaching to your higher virtues. Get it now at metamindfulnessmusic.com, METTA mindfulnessmusic.com.
Some knowledge belongs to us and us alone. The way our girlfriends walk, talk, touch their hair. Details that only a sister can know about her girls. But what about our other girls? The ones we carry with us every day. Our bond with our sister girls gives life. But knowing your breasts can save it. Go to knowyourgirls.org for the facts you need on breast health. Brought to you by Susan G. Komen and the Ad Council.
Okay, we're back, and we were just talking about food labels, and I think you finished that sentence. I was going to ask you about, because you started at the beginning also about portions versus servings. I thought that might require a little bit more. I've been shocked myself to think, okay, let me see, we bought some muffins, and they seem lower in sugar, and then you realize, a half a muffin was the serving.
Yeah, a serving size is really a standard unit of measure. So in the case of the food label, and some of the serving sizes are actually getting bigger because they're supposed to be based on typical consumption. So when you look at the label, you might see a larger number of calories, like for ice cream. But a serving is what is designated by the FDA or by the USDA or by whoever to what is a unit of food. A portion is more important because that's what you actually end up eating. You often eat 5 servings or 2 servings. And the servings are small. So if you eat more than 1 serving, it seems like common sense math, but people forget to do it. You have to double the calories. If there's 4 servings per container and you ate the whole container, and 1 serving is 100 calories, you've eaten 400 calories, not 100. But people deceive themselves. And I don't think they do it on purpose. I think there's just sort of a lot of rationalization that goes on.
Right. Okay. And what about, I notice calories are still prominent. Do you have to count calories on this?
No, absolutely not. Calories are very prominent, and calories count, and calories matter. And at the end of the day, you're going to lose weight if you eat fewer calories. But counting calories is so tedious that I think it is more useful to look at, first of all, where are your calories coming from? So just counting calories doesn't give you the whole picture. Are you choosing nutritious, healthy food? And that's more important. And 2, what is your portion? So if you count your portions instead and you choose healthy foods, that will help you to get a handle on your calories without you having to actually count them.
Okay. And there's another question that I have, and I don't know if you've come across this, but somebody who always reads food labels, it's happened to me a few times where you look and you say, really? There's only 3 grams of sugar, and then 6 months later it all of a sudden becomes 13. Or like the sugar amount actually was mislabeled.
Well, that happens a lot. And, again, I don't think the FDA has enough people checking labels, but it could also be a different variety, like take Cheerios cereal. The plain Cheerios has 1 gram of sugar and 3 grams of fiber. That's a great profile. Honey Nut Cheerio, Chocolate Cheerio, all these other Cheerios, they have lots and lots of calories and lots of added sugar. So you've got to look at the whole package and the whole picture. Maybe you bought a different version. That is very possible.
I mean buying something regularly every week, the same thing, and then all of a sudden, and you're thinking, wow, how do they get it to be so sweet and it's so low in sugar, and then all of a sudden it changes. So.
Well, then maybe somebody reported them, and the FDA checked them and sent them a warning label, which I think is a warning letter, which I think is great.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, the first time it happened, I thought, well, a mistake can happen. The second time it happened, I thought, okay, so does that mean we could even trust how much sugar they say is in it anymore? Who decides how much sugar? The company? Does anyone check that? You know?
Unfortunately, they're allowed to be 20% off, so it could have 20% more of everything than they say. And I don't know if they're checked as much as they should be checked. But the other trick, which I think, Cynthia, is so much easier also, is look at the order of ingredients. If sugar is the first, second, or third ingredient, there's lots of sugar. If sugar is down the road, then there's going to be less sugar.
So I have to share this with you. So when my son was 7 or 8, he was all the ads on TV, always trying, this cereal, that cereal, and I was like, what do I do? Because he's always asking me, Mommy, can I have this? I said, you can have any cereal you want in the store as long as sugar is not in the first 3 ingredients.
Oh, that's perfect. You are a nutritionist at heart.
I did that. I had to realize that for the first, I don't know how many times we went shopping, I was there like an extra 20 or 30 minutes because, of course, he'd bring something up to me and he'd say, this one, Mommy, and I'd say, no, that's glucose, that's sugar. Nope, that's fructose, that's sugar. So
there's lots of different names for sugar, and I talk about them in my book. Lots and lots of names. It just doesn't say sugar. And by the way, coconut sugar and date sugar and beet sugar, when they turn them into sugars, those are all sugars too.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, your book seems to outline, making people wiser about what it is, because it's not, I can say, I always thought I was somebody who ate healthy, and then all of a sudden it exploded where, this isn't healthy, and soy used to be healthy, and now soy's not healthy. Coconut oil never used to be healthy, then it became healthy, and then you go through it in your book to explain how it's not just having a bunch of coconut oil is not great. It could be really confusing for people out there.
But it was never healthy. It was all marketing hype. There are people who are looking to sell a product, and they will do a lot of marketing campaigns to give off the impression and the illusion that it's not healthy, that it is healthy, when in fact it's not. Coconut oil was never healthy. It was just a rage, and people thought it was, and they still think it is.
Sure. The latest one I heard was they had sugar in a product, and I said, so I noticed, you've got this amount of sugar in a product, and the person said, yeah, we don't use honey because when you bake with honey, it's toxic. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but that was.
I never heard that one before.
Yeah.
I never heard that one. If you want to bake with honey, go for it, but it is a form of sugar, even though it is more, quote, natural, and natural doesn't even have a definition. If you want to really be natural, you'd have an apple. But honey is not going to be toxic if you bake with it.
Sure. Well, you've got me motivated, and we actually just rejoined a gym yesterday, and so you talk about fitness and exercise in your book as well. I thought you'd say something about that.
Yeah, you could eat more. I think exercise is so important. First of all, it's good for the mind. It really is good for the mood. It takes time to do. It puts you in touch with your body, and it burns calories. So it's a complete win-win situation. You feel better about yourself. You could get away with eating a little bit more because you're burning some calories. And again, you don't have to count the calories you're burning, and don't count the steps you're burning, when you look at those machines either, because they're not accurate. But the pedometers that have your steps or your phone to give you some tracking information, that's very, very useful, and it's fun. So I love and I recommend exercise, all types. I mean, I swim and do yoga, and I walk because I live in New York City. But going on the bike or the elliptical, whatever you like and whatever you're going to stick with is what you should do.
I don't know if this is something, I didn't remember this in the book, but since we're just talking, the other thing that kind of occurs to me that it isn't really stressed, I mean, unless it's taught in some schools, maybe not in others, but I mean, how else does the body cleanse itself of things it doesn't want without exercise? Is there another way?
The body naturally is going to clean itself out. You know, you have a liver, you know, that detoxes. You don't have to go on a detox. You know, you might sweat things out quicker, but exercise will move things along faster. You know, and it's interesting, I do some GI counseling, gastroenterology counseling, and often if people are constipated and they start running and exercising, that actually helps them go to the bathroom, believe it or not. So exercise is great. However, you could still clean yourself out. You know, you could still clean, you know, get rid of stuff without it. But why not do it? It's a great thing to do.
Yeah. I just, well, there's a lot of people. I know quite a few people that almost have an adversity to exercise, and then I know people that are very active, and I don't know if it's one of those love it or hate it, but I'm with you. I used to swim. I don't swim so much anymore, but yoga is something I love. I can just do at home. And so I like that you included that. I like your little wedges of wisdom too.
No, thank you. And I think in terms of like the love-hate relationship with exercise, a lot of people hate going to the gym, but you don't have to go to a gym. You could just walk outside. You could do the stairs. You could go to a yoga studio or Pilates. Just do more than you're doing. Start with where you're at. Don't compare yourself. And do it at a time that's going to be convenient so that you continue doing it.
I also like that, you know, you talked about, you know, the decluttering and making your kitchen nicer.
Yes, I just did a blog post on my website, drlisayoung.com, where I talk about various non-food issues and how that affects weight loss, and one of them is decluttering. Clutter creates a sense of stress in many people. Stress can create a sense of, I'm going to eat more. So decluttering is very useful. First of all, if you declutter your kitchen, you could find where things are, and you could find the healthy appliances and keep the healthy foods in the front. A cluttered kitchen sort of screams like you're out of control and you're chaotic, and that could lead you to eat more.
Sure. And what about like you mentioned green drinks, and you mentioned that you can have fruits and vegetables, but can we have, you know, there's sort of okay, go ahead, if you have to have green drinks, don't have fruits in it. If they're ground up, like say if they're thrown in a high-speed blender or something, do we have to watch it then? Because...
Well, you can have a green drink that you make at home, and you can have a green drink that you know what goes into it. And, you know, if it's got, you know, kale and berries and greens, but many of these green drinks that you buy in the store or the smoothie places have a lot of juice and some sugar sometimes added. So speaking of sugar, they can often be very caloric. If it's just going to be greens, it's totally fine. And so I tend to think with smoothies and the like, you're better off making it yourself.
Okay, so if you make it yourself and you're making a green drink or you're making a smoothie, how much is too much? I mean, if you have a smoothie every day is okay? Or
1 cup of fruit, no more than 1 cup of fruit for that, and as much greens as you want, and ice and peanut powder and vanilla and some cinnamon is great. But don't add avocados, don't add nuts, don't add actual peanut butter or almond butter because you're going to get calories.
Right, yeah. So we can still have to be aware of the portions we're eating. Thus, it's portion count.
Yes. Yes.
So I think sometimes people say, "Oh, but I don't have to count." Like you said, the fruit, the vegetables. People. I had a friend years ago that didn't understand why he wasn't losing weight, and I think he was overdoing it on something. I don't remember now what it was, but okay. The next thing you mentioned, GI. Is anything about taking probiotics, or have you been involved in any research where they talk about that and how that GI can affect weight loss?
Yeah, GI, the gut microbiome could definitely affect weight loss. I'm a fan of probiotics. I'm a fan first of getting them from food. Yogurt is a great food. But if somebody wants to take a probiotic, that totally is okay.
Sure. I was just thinking like somebody out there who maybe couldn't have dairy and, could take a probiotic to help.
Yeah, there are different probiotics. There's different brands and different strains for different things. So I'm not going to talk about a different brand, but it's totally, if somebody wants to take a probiotic, it's totally okay. But first, I wouldn't use that as insurance to not eat well. The first thing I'd want to do is see, okay, what is it that you're eating? And then from there, you want to make improvements.
Right. And what else might we have? So, I don't know. How about some tips for listeners on eating out or snacking or things like
Sure. So eating out is a big one. We love eating out. The first thing is...
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to a break. I should have noticed that.
Okay.
We're going to talk when we come back in a minute about tips, eating out and snacking. All right. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Tune in to the Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Hi, this is New Age Grammy winner Paul Avgerinos. Thanks for listening to OMTimes Radio, and please support my peaceful healing music with a purchase at iTunes, Amazon, or wherever you shop for fine music. Just put my name into the search engine, Paul Avgerinos. A, V like Victor, G like George, E-R-I-N-O-S. You can also visit me at roundskymusic.com. Thanks for listening, and I'm wishing you the brightest of blessings.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Okay, we're back with Lisa Young, and we were just going to get some tips from her on eating out, snacking, what to do about that?
So you can eat out and lose weight. You just want to be somewhat thoughtful and mindful, and I devote a whole chapter in Finally Full, Finally Slim to eating out, because so many of us eat out. We spend nearly half our food budget on foods outside the home. First of all, don't go to a restaurant famished. I know it might sound like, why eat before you eat? And I'm not telling someone to go eat a whole meal before they go out to eat. But, you want to have a late afternoon snack, and I'll get to snacking afterwards, to really sort of cut the edge. Start your meal with a salad. Get the dressing on the side, or a veggie-based soup. You could share an entree. Try to get sauces on the side, and then you can control how much you put on it. You do not have to have steamed vegetables, just plain steamed. You can have some sauce. And you want to avoid fried foods, things that say sizzling or a la Parmesan, which means it has a layer of extra cheese. You want to do grilled, sautéed, roasted vegetables. Roasted is very good. And skip the bread basket. That's important. Go easy on the alcohol. If you're going to have a drink, have one and have it with the meal as opposed to before. Alcohol could bring down our inhibitions, and we might end up drinking and then just overeating. So I think that is definitely something that's going to be useful to do it with the meal. And definitely limit that bread basket.
Yeah, that's not a problem for me, but it segues into something for me personally, I can't have gluten. So I say to myself, I'm lucky, because otherwise that bread basket and I would be having a tussle.
Yes, definitely. And many people go on gluten-free diets. They really don't have to necessarily go, but it helps them limit the bread. So it helps you limit the bread. Go for it. But be advised, and I'm not talking about your case, Cynthia, but many people go on gluten-free diets thinking they're going to be healthier, and then they end up eating foods that are gluten-free that end up having more sugar in them. So that is something that we really have to watch.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was headed, because when I had to go gluten-free, there wasn't a lot of products out there, thank goodness. And you could eat completely junky, I think, and be gluten-free. So sometimes I just shake my head when they say, we've got gluten-free options, and I go, that's not healthy. So much sugar in it.
Yeah, it's true. And many of the gluten-free varieties have more sugar. So it's so important to really be mindful about that.
And speaking of snacks, I really enjoyed the 3M's, Snacks for the Soul.
Oh, yes. Music, meditation, exactly, yes. Which one did you like?
Well, I'm a big meditator, and I love music. So
yeah, me too, and I love massages also.
Yeah, I like them too, but I'm not. I don't go for as many as I used to, but definitely. I just thought it's so important when you talk about the disconnecting and slowing down and all that. Like for me, years and years ago, do you remember a book called Feeding the Hungry Heart?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I started keeping a food journal when, was it Janine Roth, I think, came out with that book. And
yes.
I started keeping a food journal, and I noticed that there was certain feelings that, yes, were attached to foods, but also when you talk about don't eat when you're too hungry and all that, you can you need to just slow down, and then your appetite will slow down. You must see that in your and your clients some kind of connection.
Oh, absolutely. And you want to, people just shovel the food in, and they pay absolutely no attention. So I think, what Janine does is try to get you to recognize why you're even eating and what are your feelings that are associated with that. And I think it's very, very, many people eat out of stress or out of emotion. And so I think you want to be conscious of not only what you eat, but how you feel. And that's why I also think it is so important to keep that food diary.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion. I know Eckhart Tolle talks about some people may be conscious a lot of the time, but every time they eat, they go unconscious. Is that interesting?
Yes, yes. Yes, I agree.
So I try to be aware of that, and I know my husband, recently we were somewhere where we're eating with the same group of people, and there was a lady who would not, she didn't want to talk or anything. She just disappeared into her food. And she ate super fast. And I remember that because I'm like the slowest person on the table. So, I mean, she's finished and I haven't hardly begun. And at first I thought, did we say something to offend her? And then I realized, no, she's like, I'm eating, don't talk to me, I'm in this. And
right. She's concentrating on her food, exactly. She doesn't want to be disturbed.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great.
I thought of Eckhart Tolle and how some people, it's a way of going unconscious.
Yeah, no, that's great.
But, I mean, that's why we saw there's a lot of chips that sell and all that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That would be popcorn for me.
Well, popcorn is actually a whole grain, and if you do air popped, that could be a pretty good snack. And 3 cups of popcorn is a serving, and that's not a tiny portion. Speaking of having to be hungry, you won't be hungry after you have 3 cups of popcorn, unless you're eating out of some other psychological reason.
Yeah. That's what's so interesting, the way it's so tied into our psychological state, and that's why I think it's so important that you put this in here, because it, I mean, even affects other people. We've been in situations where we weren't eating something because I remember being somewhere and there was nothing I could really eat unless I wanted to eat unhealthy. And it was either not gluten-free or it wasn't healthy. And I thought, you know what? I'm not that hungry. I can eat when I get home. And some people got really upset that I wasn't eating. And to me, it's just another one of those examples that sometimes it's all about, what's going on in our mind, but we can also transfer that off to other people. Well, wait a minute, I can't eat because you're not eating. Well, of course you can. So healthy boundaries around that.
Yeah, we have a lot of that with drinking. Like, I'm not going to have a drink if you're not. But also there's, I have a section in the book, social networks. If you hang out with healthy people that exercise, that don't smoke, that don't eat fried foods, you're more likely to be healthy. So you want to hang out with the right crowd, as they say.
Yeah, well, if you don't drink much, drinkers don't tend to enjoy being around you too much for too long.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. I find that friends I have that we don't know a lot of people that do a lot of drinking, and they all say the same thing. I don't eat as much because I don't drink as much.
Yeah, drinking is also it's also calories.
Yeah, but you can have a glass of wine on this and still lose weight, huh?
Yes, you can. Just count it as a treat, and you absolutely can.
And so, somebody comes to you, and do you work with people only individually, in groups?
No, I do groups, I do remote, I do phone, I do all different ways. I lecture, I speak, so I do, many different things.
And what, why is nutrition your passion? Tell us about your passion, because you mentioned passion in here as well. So
I just think that you can't control the outcome of life, and you can't control everything. You can't control your genes. You can't control, you're getting older. You can't control your gender. Really, well, maybe you can, but you can control what you put in your mouth, first of all. You feel so much better. It definitely, a healthy lifestyle, a healthy diet absolutely can contribute to longevity. And many people just eat junk food. They don't feel good. They're tired. They're in a bad mood. They don't know why. And eating healthy is it's just an easy thing to do.
Yeah. And so that makes you feel empowered in your life.
Absolutely, and helping other people make simple, small changes. They don't have to go on the keto diet to be healthy. In fact, quite the contrary. The more complicated the diet, the less likely they're going to follow it, and the worse it probably is.
Good common sense, eating a wide variety of things. Just learn to portion control. Learn with Lisa about the little pitfalls in it. Learn how your attitude affects. All very well-rounded book on making a change in your life, not a diet, right?
Absolutely, yes. That's exactly what it is.
And then I'm laughing because you've got to embrace the 80-20 rule, and I think my husband's family, I remember saying something like, what did I say? Did you grow up, because there's medical professionals in the family, I said, did you grow up with any concern for germs? And one of the family members threw something on the floor and said, no, it's the 80-20 rule. If it's only been on there.
No, I'm not a germaphobic. I don't know if it fell on the floor, if you should eat it or not. I'm not going to answer that one. I would probably say throw it out. I'd probably say throw it out. Now we have enough food around. But, I did grow up with medical professionals around, and as somebody who toyed with the idea of going to medical school, I'm like, why work with people who are sick? Why not deal with people and keep them healthy?
Yeah.
And I much prefer that. I much rather deal with people who are healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a family joke, but just the idea that, there's something about some people are so scared of germs, and then some people are, have a different way of looking at it. But it was a funny.
Yes.
So I saw your 80-20 and thought of that.
No, it's cute. It's cute, definitely.
Yeah,
if it's on the floor for 20 seconds, go ahead, eat it.
Up to 20 seconds, yeah.
Up to 20 seconds, okay. 19 seconds, yes.
Yeah. I also like the Charles Schulz quote that you put there. All you need is love, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, of course. A little chocolate will help, right?
No, but you don't have chocolate as a separate food group here.
So. It is not a food group. Wishful thinking. I'm so sorry. So sorry. I wish it was.
What if it's like 85 or 90%?
It doesn't matter. It's still chocolate. It might be better for you chocolate, but it is still chocolate.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah, I know. We're always looking for that excuse. But you can have a small piece of dark chocolate a day and be healthy. It's how you choose to balance your treats.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have treats all the time, then there's nothing special. Then you're going to want to have more when it's a special occasion.
Exactly, yes.
So, anyways, now that I've made fun of the 80-20 rule, maybe we should tell the listeners a little bit about the 80-20 rule before you.
So I have, and it's not 80-20 isn't an exact science. Like if your food is on the floor for 22 seconds, maybe it's okay. But no, I'm just kidding. Really, you don't have to be perfect 100% of the time. So figure 80% of the time, roughly 80% of the time, you want to follow a healthy diet. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. Cut yourself some slack, and it's okay 20% of the time. Maybe that'll be like a meal that you want. Maybe it'll be being stricter during the week and letting loose a little bit on the weekend. Whatever method works better for you. You know, embrace it.
Thank you. I want to make sure that we get you to say your website again, where people can get the book, and before we lose time, because I'm just noticing the time here.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So the name of the book is called Finally Full, Finally Slim, and my website is drlisayoung.com, and I have a link on my website to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. My publisher, Hachette. You can go to the actual stores and get it. It is widely available, and I can always be contacted via my website. I have an email and phone as well, drlisayoung.com.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, for standing in your sunlight and making a difference in this world.
And thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks so much. See you all next week. Bye-bye.